Heat can be very good. We want students to have strong opinions, lightly held. We want them to have well-developed and supported arguments, but also to learn to listen to other views, to consider other evidence and change their minds if appropriate. I therefore use class polls to surface differences of opinion, and then may facilitate a debate with a proponent of one view on one side of the classroom and an opposing view or an alternate view on the other side of the classroom, which raises the heat. I might reinforce the lesser view in the room and challenge some students in order to increase that heat. At other times, I cool things down, I cool the conversation down by surfacing perhaps a third alternative or by transitioning to a related question, or by asking students to consider an additional piece of information or apply a framework. It is helpful not to end the class when the debate is very heated, so to plan for the discussion to be resolved in some way, especially through further application.
I actually have a good experience to share with this. I was doing a case that involved stakeholder analysis, and I had assigned students, it was an ethical case, so I had assigned students to represent the company and the managers and the customers and the suppliers and all the various stakeholders. And at one point, the consumer advocacy group was standing on their chairs screaming at the managers of the company, "How could you do this?" And they were just really emotionally engaged in this case. I mean, to the fact that they were actually standing on their chairs yelling at the other group. And so I realized the emotional situation was getting out of hand. And so what I did is I just asked them to all sit down and write how they were feeling at that particular time. And I wanted them to write their feelings from the perspective of whatever stakeholder group they'd been assigned to. And then I ended the class at that point and resumed the discussion the next time I saw those students. And I had them get their reflections out and talk about how, as managers, they felt when the consumer group was yelling at them and how the consumer group felt, and it turned into a good learning experience. But sometimes we have to intervene. Sometimes the discussion gets far too intense. And I mean, I had students crying in class because the discussion had gotten so intense. So this reflection piece was a good way to bring down the emotion